Hey, welcome back to Spellstorm Miniatures. This is episode 12, and my name is Jeremiah.
I am Dan.
This is Chad.
Excellent. We have Chad back with us. We're going to be talking about the PDX Open today, and both Chad and I competed. Hey, for you listeners, this episode of Spellstorm Miniatures is brought to you by Hidden Forest Gaming. Hidden Forest Gaming provides game mats and terrain sets for all your gaming needs, and listen for a special discount code to receive 10% off your next purchase. So I'm really excited to have them on board with us. Hey, let's start with just something simple and light. Play any non-War Machine games lately?
Keep it easy. I mean, I really went light with some Battleship. Good old classic, but...
Yeah, You Sank My Battleship?
Yeah.
That Battleship?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. Who you played that with?
Oh, my son.
Oh, nice. Gotta get him started early, right?
Exactly.
Oh, actually, I did a couple of weeks ago. A couple of friends and I, my roommates and I, hung out, played some board games, and actually played Secret Hitler for the first time. That was actually
nice.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about that game.
Yeah, it's a good game. We played it with it's a minimum like 5 to 10 players, and we played with just the 5 people. I was like, how is this going to work? And it wasn't at all the way that I thought it was. And it was a good game. And actually, I secretly was Hitler.
Oh.
And we almost won, and then I got ousted, and then I got executed.
Yeah.
So
then the outcome was justified.
Yeah. But it was definitely very interesting, and it was more fun and actually pretty simple.
Okay. It's one of those like party games, right?
It's a party social deduction game, and it's really interesting. It's actually a super simple process.
We have my wife and I were part of just a local group of friends who get together, once every other month or once a quarter or something, and we do game night. And we always the pattern is always the same. We start with some kind of large group party game, and then we play the game, and then we kind of divide up. Usually the heavier gamers will go into the den and play, and then like the lighter gamers will hang out at the in the living room, and they may or may not play a game. That's where my wife goes.
Yeah.
I usually go to the den, and then we have snacks and drinks, whatever, and it's just a lot of fun. But that might be a game that we could play at a future gathering.
There's another new game that we actually just got at Rooney Bar called the Meta Game, which is a party game that you can play with just 2 people. And Nick and Sadie got to demo it with the owners of the game, or the creators of the game, at I think they did it at Sit Down Shut Up Gaming Expo that they went to a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And brought a demo home, and it finally came in to stock, being available for like stores to purchase. So we have that in stock. But yeah, it's a party game you can play with only 2 people.
That's just, it's blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
I don't even have a category for that in my head. So yeah, I got our Starfinder campaign suddenly hit the stop button. My DM had some life issues come up, and so we restarted a 5th edition campaign, and the last several characters that I have built have all been charisma based, and so I went for something non-charisma based this time.
I'm actually not surprised that you're primarily a charisma based character, Jeremiah.
Let's just say I have a lot of fun with those kind of characters, and so we did another month of Pandemic Legacy Season 2. We were unsuccessful, and so we're having a hard time with Season 2. It's a little bit different than the way that Pandemic normally plays. It's kind of a reverse mechanism for how the board gets developed, and we just haven't mastered it. So my character's name is Zangief. I'm bad guy. He looks like, really what he does, he looks like one of those rogue traders, with a mohawk or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just, and he looked like a less buff version, kind of a cross between a rogue trader and and Zangief from Street Fighter. So I was like, I gotta name him Zangief.
Yeah. But that does not mean he's a bad guy.
Exactly.
Does he have the big, big chest hair puff?
No, I actually don't remember. I'm mostly keen on his mohawk. And then my friend Mike and I, we played some Space Hulk last night.
Okay.
So we're doing the campaigns that come in that. So we did the first mission a few months ago, and the Gene Stealer side won. And then we played mission 2 last night, and the Gene Stealer side won again.
Uh-oh.
But we've been taking turns alternating, and so that means we each have won one game. But it seems like the way the missions are set up, the Gene Stealers tend to have the upper hand. I'm not sure what the code is to break it, but we'll figure it out. So, hey, how about War Machine games?
Yeah, I played some of those recently.
Yeah, you have. I have.
Yeah,
Dan, you play?
You guys got a few. No, I'm out. Well, actually, no.
Did you play your Masters?
I did play my Masters. That's
Yeah.
right. I forgot. It's been a little while. I'm like, we're throwing off a little bit on schedule. Because I think I played that just after record or whatever. But yeah, me and Eli ended up squaring off and how the seed match went, and it was all right. It was going to be Mirage. I had Troll Bloods. He had Circle, and I kind of lost the list chicken on that one. He ended up dropping his Kruger 1 with the big Thunderbird, and I dropped Madrak, and it kind of got a little out of control. Chad actually was there, set up the terrain for us. There wasn't a bunch of forests, so that was maybe good or maybe not bad to see. I don't know, but I ended up losing the roll off, and so he got so much board space, and I kind of got out of position. Ends up one thing's kind of leading to another. I learned a very valuable rule that Lord of the Feast's Grievous Wounds takes out a stone and you can't self-sack.
Yeah.
Whoops, didn't know that one.
Yeah.
So I placed him a little bit too close, was a big problem there, and I couldn't quite get positioned to where I wanted to. And it ended up going downhill. How the game basically ended after a bit was he put in a bunch of shots. Una got ported up, put a few shots into Madrak, did like 6 damage, I think, out of her 3 shots. And then he had another guy try to assault, a few more attacks. Lord of the Feast just came in, threshered in, then bought and hit a bunch of attacks. And then I was surviving kind of all right. And then the bird got a chance to go, and it couldn't get in, so it just stayed where it was, aimed, and ended up hitting. I think he needed a boosted 10. Hit it, and then it has sustained attack as well, so it didn't really matter after that. And I got toasted.
Bummer.
I know.
Yeah, so Eli advances in the Masters, and Dan goes home a sad panda.
That's right. It was a very, very valuable lesson learning game. had that assassination, I mean, it was probably like a 80 or 90% chance of success, right? But just it's like one of those two. If it would have failed, would have learned a lesson, and then
I mean, I don't know if it was that. I mean, based off of what you said, I don't know if it was that reliable. I think if you would have had the stone a little bit farther back so that the Lord of the Feast couldn't hit it in its thresher, even if you would have had like one of the other guys in front of it and maybe you lost an inch off of the ore or something like that, but Madrak was still standing in there, that makes that assassination run that much more difficult because it's 2 less damage for every time he hits you.
Exactly. I think we figured it was like 8 attacks or so after that.
Yeah, that's 16 less damage.
Or sorry, it would have been 8 damage. Sorry, 4 attacks, like 8 damage. Sorry.
Still, I mean, 8 damage is still what, half of Madrak's hitboxes.
Exactly. No, it would have bought me like one of my transfers probably, and then I could have shrugged off a little bit more. That sustained attack off the bird is really, I think, what would have ended up doing it in anyway. Because we were talking about it a bit afterwards. I mean, I could have, if I would have been slightly better positioned, and also realizing that he could put basically blessed on Lord of the Feast.
Yeah.
That was a huge help as well. I could have maybe presented it, but then he probably wouldn't have gone for the assassination either and just started clearing troops. Yeah. So, I don't think if we would have gone for it, if I would have been a little bit bunkered better and not as bunched up as trolls like to get. But again,
was Madrak engaged?
He was after Lord of the Feast came in.
Okay.
So that's part of the problem with the bird. Had such a hard time to hit.
Yeah, you had even ground up, right?
Yes, even ground was, but he put blessed on it, so it ignored the even ground.
Yeah.
So I think, actually, maybe it was a boosted 12 that he needed.
That's what I was thinking. It was like if he didn't have.
Oh, he aimed though. That's right. So
it's a 6 to an 8. So
Yeah.
if you're even ground and engaged, your defense 20.
Yeah.
So that's a 12.
Yeah. So I think
either he had the blessing, he needed the 8, or he made the 12, which is
Yeah.
slightly more difficult than.
I think he made
like-
the 12. Like none of his rolls were any low. Like they all were right on average or above. So
Don't you hate that when you're playing someone and they just keep rolling really
Yeah.
high?
No, that's good. I mean, he's a great player. He's very skilled and good with his list. So nothing,
And rolls well.
nothing to take away from there.
That's a
But
combo.
it's something that I could have prevented with a little bit better planning, and it could have gone awry, but
Yeah.
it didn't. And Madrak was a sad troll.
Well, our main topic today happens to be the PDX Open, and Chad and I, we both got to compete in that, and so we asked Chad to come and help tell the story of the PDX Open day. It's our first ever having one.
Yep.
And it's a Warfare Weekend wildcard qualifier.
Yep.
That's a mouthful, and I did it right. And so, what were some of the favorite parts of the event? What did you like about it?
One of the great things that I enjoyed was actually getting out to a tournament and seeing a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while. Like, I haven't gotten to travel. Actually, a lot of those guys that are from the out-of-town area, since I don't really get to play in tournaments anymore, I haven't seen since I-5. So I haven't seen some of those guys since October. And Alex Cosma, who came up from Northern California, actually crashed in my apartment.
Oh,
I went
nice.
and picked him up from the airport Friday night.
He's a cool cat.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy, and he actually
Cat
is,
with a K.
he made it onto one of the WTC teams this year for the U.S. Super nice guy. I actually met him for the first time at War Machine Weekend, the first and only one I've made it to back in 2016.
Okay.
And the way that we kind of introduced each other was like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm from the Portland area. Like I actually live with one of the guys that organizes the I-5, and he was like, oh, I've heard of that. Like, tell me more. And so when Lucas and I actually started running it the next year, Alex was one of the first people that I got in contact with, and then it was his team that came up and took it from us that year.
Oh yes, and we heard about that in the previous episode.
Yep.
Dun dun dun. All right, I take it back. Alex is no longer cool.
Oh, ouch.
Harsh.
No. He's great. Actually, to be honest, I think all of the folks that I have met playing War Machine have been really great. So
Yeah.
I think the location was kind of special this year. It was pretty unique. It was one of our fancy hotels in Portland. The Heathman Hotel is actually on the National Historic Hotel Registry. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's nice. And if you ever are in the area and are looking for a nice brunch date and you want to take your significant other to, they serve a great brunch on the weekends.
Yep.
And but I haven't actually stayed in any of the rooms. I've only been to events there and then have eaten there. So I can't speak to any of their rooms. But
Yeah.
parking wasn't so bad.
No, the hotel doesn't really have very much from my understanding, but Alex and I ended up parking at a parking structure like about a block and a half away or so. I think we paid $6 for the whole day.
Nice. Yeah. We ended up carpooling. My wife offered to drive me and Oz and Ron and Ethan down. And so it was really nice. We got dropped off at the door. Felt like all chauffeured, because then you have the doorman there and they're holding the door open for you and they're like, hey, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think I will.
Alex and I were actually driving around trying to find the hotel and also the parking structure, and we turned the corner and Alex was like, oh yeah, there's the hotel, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of nerds getting out of a car, and it was you and Ron and
You didn't roll down the window and yell nerd.
No, I was driving, so I was trying to pay attention to where we were going and make sure I didn't accidentally turn the wrong way down a one-way street.
That's so good. That's so funny. Yeah, well, and it being in a nice hotel, I guess first being a historic hotel, it doesn't have large conference rooms like how modern rooms hotels are built, and so they had several smaller rooms that were adjacent to each other, and you could like remove the wall or something.
Yeah, the walls fold down
Yeah,
and collapse. So
that's what I'm looking
opens them
for.
up.
Yeah, and so it made for like when I walked into the room, it felt like it wasn't going to be big enough. But throughout the day, I never felt squished.
Yeah.
The way the tables were organized, I thought it used the space very nicely.
Yes.
There was a separate space for the command center where the judge table was. I don't know what else to call it.
No, command center.
Yeah.
Command center judge table.
Yeah, and a nice hotel. So there was, they had like a bar and like that was kind of in our space. You could get there and you can get your drinks, you can get food, and get snacks.
Yep.
They had a lunch menu and a dinner menu, and you could order from, and they brought it to your table.
Nice.
Like it was.
Yeah, they actually brought it up from the kitchens and then came out and,
Yeah.
And gave it to you in the room. So you didn't actually really have to go anywhere unless you needed to like duck out and get some air. There was also some nice lounging space areas, like tables and chairs and things like that, like right outside the room. So you didn't have to stay in the room.
Yeah.
You could get out of the room where it was a little bit cooler, a little quieter.
Yeah.
And
Make
you
a phone
could sit
call,
down and maybe chat with somebody about how a game went or something like that. Or like I did after one of the rounds, I just went out there and sat down and ran my fingers through my hair.
You pulled out your beard and beat your chest.
A little bit.
Yeah. One of the things I really appreciated was the water stations.
Yes.
I think I drank.
And coffee refills all day. I know a couple of our players really, really appreciated that.
See, I love coffee, but I didn't know that until maybe like after round 3, and I'm so bummed about the lack of knowledge about the refills.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have drank coffee all day.
Yeah.
Instead, I drank water all day, which
It's still good.
made me
it's
feel
it's
really
important.
good.
Yeah, it's important to stay hydrated, especially during those long 5-round days. Like
I think I drank 10 glasses.
Yeah.
Like I think I refilled at the beginning of every round, and at least halfway through every game, I walked over there and refilled again.
Yeah, and it's important.
Like,
it really is. Like I've played those days where I wasn't carrying a water bottle with me, and by the time you get to round 4 or 5 or something like that, especially if you don't get a lunch break between rounds, if you're at a big con, like you really start feeling it, and you feel sluggish. You can't think as clearly. Maybe start getting a headache from the dehydration. Like having those water stations is really, really vital for long days like that, especially if you are playing an attrition faction that goes to time almost every single time, and it's a long, grindy game.
Yeah. So the folks who were kind of heading it up, we had Jeff and we had Ben and we had James, all local guys. I appreciated some of the things that they had set up. So in the command center, they had a big TV monitor where they posted the pairings, and and it was separate, and so it felt like it just when you approach the table and to report and things like that, it was a lighter room too. They had a sun, they had a sun roof or whatever, and so you could it was just nice experience overall. Dan, there was something else they did that you really appreciated.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're saying, running off the command station, I believe you said it was on their TV too, was using a tabletop.to bracket type of live updater. It's the first time I'd kind of seen it, and thought it was a real nice touch because Jeff posted a link in the Discord, and essentially you're able to click on it and then look and see all the players, and then you click on their name and you could see their CP, their AP, everything, and if they won, lost, and then who they defeated or who they lost to. So it was really a cool way to vicariously be there without actually being there, because I could look up and say, oh, so-and-so just beat so-and-so, and, I think half the time I knew more of what was going on than...
you were texting me, and I was like, I don't know.
Like, I don't know what just
I
happened.
don't know. I'm in the game, Dan. Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Check the website.
I'm trying to concentrate.
Yeah, that's why I try not to text much or anything, because it's like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
No, it was fine. You weren't bothering me.
And some of us are really bad about like taking pictures and updating social media. Like I'm certainly awful at it. Like
there's a little bit of lack of pictures. I'm a little like, oh man, wanted more. There's a few pictures, mainly of Circle and Iona, especially the Iona off.
Yeah, I did. I didn't take any photos throughout the day, and I have previously uninstalled Discord from my phone for a little technology break, and so I couldn't even update on that or anything. So I was just, I truly was like flying solo through the day. It was nice. So, well, what were some of your least favorite parts of the day? I think.
Well, really, for me, not being able to be there,
Yeah.
but that was kind of the bummer.
Yeah.
As I said, next year, we're gonna get that streaming working, and if it's the same place, that little command center would be a great little announcer booth.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
well, they announced where the new location is going to be next year, so we'll share that kind of towards the end, I think.
Fine.
Okay.
So,
But some of the Bend guys couldn't come because of the snow. They couldn't make it over
unfortunately.
the pass, and so you weren't the only one who couldn't. I mean, you had other reasons for not attending, but like we were hoping for plus 40.
Yeah.
And and because of that, we didn't get our mark. So
Yeah, that was one of the things that I wish we could have just gotten some more people. We ended up with 35, which is still a good turnout for a pretty local thing for
the
a
first
year event.
Yeah.
That's a good number. And like I said, we had some people come out that don't usually make it to some of our Portland tournaments, and it was good to see those guys. I wish we could have gotten more, but that's also the TO and me speaking of like, could never satisfy us. Like you can't get enough of a turnout to satisfy the TOs unless you're turning people away.
I was so excited. This is silly, but like I was so excited to see Travis there. I got to play him in a journeyman league in like December and kind of get to know him, and he's just a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
And I've never seen him really, but of course I know he plays at a different store than I do mostly.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh hey, and then in like round 3 or 4 he was playing Aussie. And I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Yeah.
So
The only other drawback is looking at the dinner menu was a little bit pricey from a fancier hotel.
Yeah, I did not order dinner.
Neither did I.
There.
I also wasn't terribly hungry because I figured that Alex Cosma, myself, and some other people were probably going to go out to dinner once we left. Yeah. So I didn't want to really eat because the dinner break I think would have been after round 4, with round 5 potentially being the final one. It's like I don't want to eat now and then in 2.5 hours be going out to dinner and not eating anything. Like,
right.
I'd rather save space to go to my father's space and have some delicious bacon, which is exactly what I did.
Nice. I love that place.
Oh man, it's so good.
So yeah, I know that place just from being a local guy. Like, how did that get on everyone's radar? Like, people from out of town were talking about.
So the way that it turned about is actually from the guys that used to play on Monday nights at Guardian years ago. Guardian used to close at like 8 or 9 o'clock or something like that, and a lot of the guys who were still hungering for more games would do one of two things: either some of us would drive out to Redcastle and play another game because they were open till like 11 or midnight or something like that.
Okay.
Or some of the other guys like Danny Modesto, James Sliger, I think Adam was around at that time, and some of the other guys would sometimes just go around the corner, a couple blocks away, to MFP, grab a couple of drinks, and hang out and talk about the game. Coleman Spray was another one of the ones that would frequently go out there.
See, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that.
And so it kind of became a local hangout, and whenever some of the like out-of-town people would come down to tournaments that we would have on a Saturday, they're like, hey, what is there that's good around here that's not like gonna bend, break our backs? Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, MFP is like, it's good food, it's good, it's well priced, and you can get beer.
Yeah.
Like, they serve breakfast all day.
It's a total dive.
And they have
it's
delicious
like the perfect
bacon.
greasy spoon. It's so good.
Oh man, and they've got fantastic bacon. Like, they're good sized pieces. They're nice and thick. They're cooked perfectly, and they've got fantastic flavor. So. Yeah. It's just kind of like become this local hangout thing that we've spread to all of our other friends. They're like, oh man, you've got to go to MFP and try their bacon.
Nice.
And I actually, when Asher and I went to go get food, and we got our food, I actually took a picture of myself eating a piece of bacon and sent it to Alex Cosma, who was still watching the finals game. It was like, see what you're missing? His only response was, I'm jelly.
Nice. Yeah, and then we have this listed as one of our least favorite parts, but it's just the truth. We did not have a local at the top table.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but it was a great event, and it attracted a lot of great players. Mm-hmm. And you got to earn your way to the top. So
yeah, we did, however, have 4 people from Oregon, 3 from our local area in the top 10. So that's
right.
not bad.
Yeah. Eli number 4. Mm-hmm. Asher number 5 or 6 or 7.
I think
6, 7.
Asher was
7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Ron
was
got
number 9.
And then Aaron Allen at 10.
Aaron at 10.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. Those are great players, great guys.
Yeah.
So And Ron, of course, being our captain of our I-5 team.
Yep.
So, woo, shout out.
Yeah, he had some rough games. I think he
3 out
faced
of
both.
5 against Circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both Iona players he ran into, and
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we just give a brief overview of our games? Just kind of go round by round, I guess.
Sure.
Do you wanna go first, and I'll just go second? We'll just alternate
sure.
a little bit.
Yeah, I can go first. So first round was Mirage because our TOs are evil.
They're awesome. I think it depends on your perspective.
No, they're great. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing Mirage first thing in the morning because then it shakes out all the people who weren't ready to play. But the the pairing announcements went up, and Michael Burks was walking past me, I think, to go get his tray. And I saw him walk by, and he kind of had like almost this grim look on his face. I was like, "What's wrong, Burks? Did we get paired against each other?" Ha ha. And I like walked up and I looked at the pairings. It was like Chad Laubacher and Ryan Burks. I was like, "Ha." So we played our game. It was Mirage. Michael had Assyria, double Hyperion, double Trident, and then I don't remember what the other. The other list was Kalissa.
Yeah.
And I was playing. I should talk about what I was playing. I was playing my Grail list in Devourer's Host that I had played against Dan a number of weeks ago. I can go over the list real quick. Let me just grab it on my phone. It's the same list I've been playing for a little while. I like it a lot. I originally kind of built it as an assassination list. It's actually got some good attrition play in it, but it's Devourer's Host, and it's Grail, Blood Shaman, a Wild Argus, a Scarsfell Griffin, and Loki is the battle group. And then I have Lord of the Feast, or Lady of the Feast, because I'm using the mini crate model. Tharn, Ravager Whitemane, a Ravager Shaman, a Gallows Grove, Lanissa Rasal, a unit of Bloodweavers, the Death Wolves, full unit of Blood Trackers with Nuala, full unit of Ravagers with the Chieftain. And then my second list is another favorite of mine that I've been playing, and everyone tells me I'm crazy for doing this, but it's Kruger 2 out of theme. So it's Kruger 2, 2 Woldweirds, a Feral, Loki, Megalith, 2 Gallus Groves, a Black-clad Stone Shaper, Black-clad Wayfarer, Eilish, Shifting Stones, and 2 Sentry Stones.
So like you said, it's out of theme. Why run it out of theme?
The reason being is I like the heavy trading power that the 2 living beasts give me. That list is basically Bones of Orboros with the exception of having Loki and the Feral in there. And when Loki originally released, playing him with Kruger was one of the first places that I thought about putting him because he adds another element of good control. I was concerned for a little while that because he's only base POW 14, he gets +2 strength up to 16. He's got 2 initials. I felt like he was a little bit pillow-fisted, but if you leverage that and then if you use Loki to hook and pull something in, hit it a couple times, and then just use the Feral to finish it off, it's generally enough. And you can do it from such a far threat range that you can, just grab and hook something in. And then you can use Kruger's feat and his other control to push everything else away as you start doing this peace trade. Gotcha. And that's the main reason I really like the list. And people have always looked at me sideways when I talk about playing it out of theme. But I think Kruger is honestly one of the few Warcaster Warlocks in the whole game that I think is strong enough to play out of theme. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with him playing in Bones. He's really strong there, but it just doesn't fit the way that I want to play.
Nice.
So I ended up playing Kruger 2 into Assyria, and I have never played against Tridents before.
Good time, huh?
So it was quite interesting. I felt like I had a better chance because Kruger's really strong in Mirage. I know that Assyria's feat gives true sight to everything in her control area, so I didn't want to play Grail because I knew that he could use the Hyperions to easily pull like all the Blood Trackers off the table, kill the Ravagers. I just knew it wasn't going to be very good. So one of the major things is I won the die roll, went first, and moved up really aggressively up the table like I always do with that list. And then the next turn, I actually positioned Kruger. I kept a lot of my stuff really back and left Kruger at the front so that Windstorm could do the most work possible. And I actually feeded on top of 2, and I only hit 3 models. I only hit the 2 Hyperions and 1 of the Tridents. And I didn't push any of them because they're huge bases. But the -2 speed, even though he has Crusader's Call, the -2 speed kind of messes with the math if he plans on walking anywhere and trying to shoot. Like between that and Windstorm, it really cuts back the guns for a single round. And I didn't notice it until like in the second round, but there was this wall that was conveniently in Michael's zone, kind of close to the objective, that actually made it really difficult with the -2 speed for his huge base models to get over it. And between that and where the flag was, I was able to position my models in places where, like, aggressively forward, because he wasn't going to be able to fit his huge base models. Either in melee with my stuff because of the flag or because of the wall or because of the minus speed buff. So, like, that's one thing that's really important with that Kruger list is leveraging where you can, being aggressive and forward with your pieces, and paying attention to where your opponent's not going to be able to get to you because of something like you can't stand on a flag, you can't stand on a wall. Right. And it's one of the difficult things with those huge base model lists. So get real good at that if you're going to play kaiju.
I'll figure it out.
So we trade blows back and forth. On my next turn, I leave one of the tridents that made it into my back zone. I leave it on 5 boxes or something like that. I just roll bad with the feral at like dice off 3, like I was chipping damage in, and left it on like 5 boxes. And then he ended up killing my feral and then killing some of my backfield. The short of it was, I pulled. No, sorry, that was the wrong turn. I pulled one of his Hyperions off the table because with the help of my mannequins, because they actually charged and did some good damage on my second turn. I just pushed them in.
Nice.
And they actually did. At dice off 8, I was doing like 3 or 4 damage a couple of times on charges to the shield, which makes it easier to finish it off the next turn, which I was able to do. And then on my 4th turn, he had put his Hyperion his other Hyperion into my face, done a bunch of damage, almost killed Loki, almost killed Megalith. The feral was already gone at this point. And I'm looking at the table, and his other trident is totally fresh and over near my other flag. I had scored a couple CP. I think he had scored a couple. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I can either kill as much as I possibly can and still lose this game, or there's actually this long shot assassination that might be there. Because Assyria had moved into the zone so that he could score it kind of on the small edge of the wall. And Loki's missing 2 aspects. Kruger's sitting inside the stones, and I reread the wording on Puppet Master on Eilish, and this plan formulates. I was like, okay, so shifting stones activate that teleport Kruger forward. Kruger activates, he heals 2 points out of Loki to bring his aspects back, so he's back to full function. Kruger casts Megalith's Animus on himself and then TKs himself and gets within 5 inches of Assyria, dropping your defense by 2. Okay. So Megalith activates, he's functional because he heals himself every turn. Finishes off the trident, punches the Hyperion a couple of times, and then TKs Loki out from in front of the Hyperion so that I can get past him. The drawback to this plan is that I have to take a free strike, and I have to rely on Michael not hitting the free strike.
Oh.
So Eilish activates, walks forward, and puts Puppet Master onto the Hyperion. Loki activates, warps for strength, charges past the Hyperion, and Michael rolls the free strike, rolls a 7. I use the Puppet Master to force him to re-roll it, and he rolls Snake Eyes. Oh. And I get into melee with Assyria past the wall.
That is so clever.
And I boost the hit him, and put a bunch of damage into him because I'm POW 16. She's only armor 13. Boost the second hit and put her in the dirt.
Wow. That was clever.
That's a brave one. Yeah.
Puppet Master on the Hyperion.
Yep.
Knowing the free strike's coming. That's clever.
It was one of those weird little back pocket scenarios that I kind of pulled out. I was like, oh, there's a trick here. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So how did your first round go?
Well, it was Jesse versus Jeremiah Part 2. So that was really funny. So
Noodle Man Boogaloo.
Well, yeah. Well, I show up to my table and there is Jesse, and I'm like, oh man, we literally just played this in the Masters because we were in the same pod. So the difference this time is that he ran Dreamer against me, and I think last time he had the Wanderer. I think, but actually I have the proof. He did have the Wanderer last time.
Check the journal.
Check the journal.
Check the journal.
I was Iron Manning Zakar one more time because I needed to get to my minimum threshold. I can gladly report to the listeners that I have graduated. Zakar is going to go back on the shelf somewhere, and I am going to pull out a real warlock.
You should start winning some games.
Yeah, you should do some little applause sound bit in the background. Cheering.
I should get some one of those like sound.
Play the graduation song.
Da, 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 da. Okay, whatever. So we're playing. Obviously, we're playing. So Zakar, Imperial Warhost. Cannoneer, Sentry, 2 Gladiators, a Tibby, not a Tibby, a Bronzeback.
Yep.
That kind of just standard stuff. My one solo was a Feral Geist, and I had 1 unit of Paingivers, and so this game went very similarly to the previous game. The biggest difference is that he was able to keep pace with me on CP, and I'm just a little bit of a slow player still, and I ended up losing on clock, and so that was my round 2. I mean, Jesse's a great opponent, and it was really funny. There was one move where I was going to do something, and he was like, and he goes, I shouldn't tell you this because it's a a tournament or whatever. So he's super generous with me, and I appreciate that. But I think I'm not sure. It might have been that round where I did something that he didn't like, and then it ended up working out in front of me because I was doing something different with what he thought I was doing, and so which I thought was clever, but I don't remember what it is, so we'll just skip that piece. So I love my round 2 game. And I can go first on that one, I guess.
Do it.
And so in round 2, I was playing a local guy, Kyle, I think. I think he normally plays at Guardian on Mondays. And so I don't know him too well.
Okay.
He's been playing for a few years. And he was running Gatsby 3 and Black Industries. Oh. And so he had some really fast jacks that were in my face so fast. And I honestly, it surprised me how fast they were coming. And then he had 2 arc nodes that were flanking the sides. And the thing is, though, is the scenario is what's really important about this game, because the scenario is standoff. So 2 circle zones, and he has 0 units.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always tricky.
And I have 2 units. I have Bone Grinders and I have Paingivers.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what ended up happening, because of how fast his everything was, the battle really took place in the square zone on my side of the board.
Okay.
And so we ended up. I think he was able to score once his square zone before I was able to get the Pharaohgeist in to contest.
Okay.
And that's really important because that comes into play later in the game. But then after that, everything else just was centered on all of the mass amounts of bodies in my square. And so I was able
big meaty fists hitting metal plated warjacks.
So I was able to, I think his turn 3 and 4, his big target was my Cannoneer. And so he literally charged the Cannoneer like 4 times with 4 different jacks. Okay.
Oh jeez.
Under the Zakar's feet and the Agonizer bubble,
Oh, jeez.
Cannoneer lives.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean,
it's like what, a -5 total?
-5.
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
And so
It's
so
basically armor 24.
right. But then here's the deal, though. So here's the question. So that was like, I think it was like his turn 3 or whatever. So then here's the question. The question is what happens then to all this stuff in my box that I would have trouble clearing now, because now I have a sentry and a gladiator around.
Yeah.
That's all I have left. And so what do? And something really sneaky is what I do, because the agonizer has repulsion.
Sneaky fellow, you.
And so the turn after he kills the cannoneer, because he does eventually get the cannoneer, the agonizer just kind of walks in, make sure I'm within 2 inches of everyone, and pew! and so I push directly away everyone out of the box.
Yeah.
At 3 inches or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that clears that zone. I'm able to score the zone, and he made an interesting choice whether or not to charge the cannoneer with his death jack, because his death jack actually had a line of sight to Zakar on one of the turns, and chose not to go after Zakar. And we kind of talked about it a little after the game. I honestly thought that's what was going to happen. I thought the assassination was coming, and it did not come. And so he was so intent on clearing that zone. So my last 2 turns, I walk over. I see that the circle zone can be scored, so I can run my bone grinders over there, except for one unit or one guy. And so I park that guy in front of a pain giver, anatomical precision.
It
doesn't
just
have to
whips
go
that
puff,
boy.
Whips him gone. And so I have 3 bone grinders standing in the circle. And so now I'm going up on CP now.
Yep.
The Feral Geist is now challenging, his thing, his last turn. Then I sneak a beast around the corner to tow into the zone of his box. So he focuses all of his attention. He shifts his flank. Gatsby starts moving over to take care of this guy, and he gets him gone. And so he thinks he's going to score, except he completely forgot about the Feral Geist.
Little
Guys
lonely
hanging out
Feral
in the back corner.
Geist.
Hanging out in the box.
Yes.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
So then the final turn is I have to clear an arc node. Now, what's interesting, which is now in the circle zone contesting my bone grinders, and so what's very interesting is 2 things. At the 6-minute mark is when I had 6 minutes left on my clock, and that's when I thought the assassination was coming, and it did not come. And so in the next 6 minutes, I basically do 2 full turns, and I completely ignore the box now, and I'm shifting over to this circle. And my Mr. Bronzeback, who's been playing support the whole time because of his leadership Titans, being able to remove the the Fury management stuff, he just first the Zakar charges the Arc Node, whips him a couple times, doesn't kill him. So then I finish him off with the Bronzeback, and then I hit the clock with like a little over a minute left to go, and I go up 6-1 on CP.
Wow.
And I go victory. I'm really proud of myself because I was able to ignore the action in the box.
Yeah.
If I had focused there, it would have eaten up all my time. I would have lost on clock. But I chose to ignore that. See, my win scenario has to be going to score the circle zone twice. I needed to score it twice, and so I devoted all my extra stuff to score that zone twice.
Yep.
And that's what ended up giving me the victory. And I just I just felt so proud.
Good job.
So that's my round 2.
Yeah, no, that's way more eventful than my round 2. My round 2, I played against Abi, who is another one of our local guys. Again, this was standoff. He is playing Trolls. He's playing Madrak 1 and Kolgrima. So I decided to play Grail, and he decides to play Madrak 1 because I feel like my Grail list is going to have more power and stuff into it. I don't think that the Kruger list has the volume of attacks to really deal with troop-heavy trolls. So, and it's not as accurate. And actually, the one thing that Abi and I were talking about after the game is like, those Tharn Ravagers with Grail get so accurate because I put Death March on them, which gives them +2. So they're mat 7, now they're mat 9, and then if you have a white mane hanging out near them, they get Veteran Leader, so they get another +1. So they're mat 10. Like, they're mat 10.
Yeah, champs don't want to see that.
All of the time. So I win the die roll, I go first. I think I win the die roll every single round for the day. Except for against Ron. I don't remember who's my round 3. I don't remember who won the die roll. But I win the die roll to go first. There's a nice big forest kind of in the middle of the table. The short of this round is actually pretty uneventful other than just smashing into each other quite a lot. Abhi had a turn, unfortunately, where he just couldn't roll like 6s or 7s to save his life. He just couldn't do it. And we also got to watch Volka just spend most of the game fighting off a full unit of Bloodweavers that had ambushed into his back arc. Like at Dice Off 8, I think I got 3 charges onto him and only did like a couple points of damage. And then the next turn we're standing there, he turns around and kills a couple of them. And then I walk into melee with him and take a couple more attacks at Dice Off 8 and don't really do anything. So he's just kind of swatting at them all match.
Not a bad strategy, though.
Yeah.
So
No, I'd rather tie him up there. I was hoping that I was going to be able to do enough damage in the charges that the next turn I would only have to try and chip in a couple more to finish him off. But that didn't happen. But it's better than him getting into my Ravagers when I'm trying to feat and mini feat with the Ravagers and chomp through his left-hand flank on my right-hand side, which is what was going on. And I spend, in classic practice with this list, I spend an eternity on my second turn. Between Grail's feat adding basically a 3-inch move to another model whenever somebody kills something, and the mini feat of overtake of the Ravagers, you can do a lot of really crazy things, but I'm not practiced enough with the list to be super efficient at executing it and getting them into weird places. My original plan was to use activations to kill some of his Krill warriors in the front line, to walk one of the guys that's on the edge further to the back to get to the Krill warriors in the second line, and then use overtakes to get into his rectangle zone so that I could prevent him from scoring. And unfortunately, I don't do this. He makes some tough checks, and I also I roll a lot of 6s against some of the Krill warriors that were in the Stone Aura. And that glances armor because they're armor 19, because they're 15 base, they have unyielding to 17, and then with the Stone Aura, they're armor 19. And I wasn't charging with the Ravagers because he feated this turn, so stuff in his control can't be charged, which was another kind of big setback with this, is I wasn't able to charge and get the damage in on him that I really wanted to. And I could have one, I think, mistake for this turn was I had an opportunity that I could have walked the Lord of the Feast around and thrown the Raven and hit Rock and gotten the Lord into the backfield and hit the Stone, but I needed to roll a 7. And I don't like rolling unboosted 7s. I think a lot of people can relate. And so I didn't want to do that first in the turn because I didn't want my plan to hinge on it. If I would have done that, because, spoiler alert, I ended up hitting the 7 and putting Lord of the Feast into the backfield in melee range of the Creelstone Bearer and Madrak. And I end up getting her into the backfield as like one of the last activations that I do and dropping the aura. And if I would have done that earlier, I would have gotten through more of the Krill warriors because those 6s would have been tough checks instead of glancing blows. Right. But I spent too much time on my second turn. I spent too much time on my third turn, and in the fourth turn, I ended up clocking myself, trying to clear the zone. I think if I would have been more practiced with the list and better time management, I think I could have eventually chewed through it because he was casting even ground every turn. But with the Death March and the Vengeance and the Veteran Leader, I get attacks at mat 10, and then I get to activate and get more attacks at mat 10. And I think I could have chewed through them and eventually won that game. But I ended up losing on clock after scoring some scenario points. So victory to Obby for that match.
So after round 2, you and I are both 1-1.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
And it's lunch break.
Get your reps in. That's what I'm hearing.
And Obby and I were the last table to finish, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ozzy and I ran over to Pizza Smicha with Jesse, and Curtis joined us too.
Oh, man, I love some Pizza Smicha.
Yeah, and then we wolfed it down and we came back just in time to play round 3. So
I ordered a brunch burger from the bar.
nice.
It wasn't bad.
Nice.
It was bacon and a fried egg on it. And
Egg
the
on
fries
it.
were tasty.
Yeah, egg on a burger is like one of the best toppings.
Yeah.
So good. So see round 3. Round 3, we're playing Invasion, and this time I get to play Michael Burks.
Oh.
And he drops, which I'm really excited about. Like, I love Michael Burks. Like,
He's a great guy.
I see him at the coffee shop
Yeah.
where I play Steve on Saturday mornings sometimes, and so Steve and I usually play Company of Iron on Saturday mornings, and I think Michael has like a shop nearby or works nearby or something, and so he'll get coffee from Risotto Roasters right about the time that we're wrapping up and heading home, and so we keep talking like we need to play our game,
Yeah.
and so we finally get a game together. So he drops Kalissa,
Yeah.
so it only has 1 trident. And,
Okay.
but I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it like this is a really hard game for me, and so I go into the tank a little bit, trying to figure out how can I apply the most pressure for him, and so I think I do a good job of flanking left. I do something that really surprises him. Because is Kalissa, is this you can't charge, is that where her feet is?
Yeah, it's like no charge. It's stealth and then no charges, no power attacks type of thing.
Yeah. So he tried to go into the zone to contest with a model and be in such a way where I couldn't get him with a 2-inch reach with my sentry.
Okay.
And so I did not challenge him on the placement of that. I just let him and just played as if that were true, and I said later that I wish that I had actually challenged him on the placement on that, because I think a sentry could have been able to hit him with this 2-inch thing. Yeah. And so don't know if it would have killed the model, but at least I would have had a fighting chance. Mm-hmm. And so what I end up doing is I end up doing a series of things. Moving my caster up, feeding, and all this stuff, and walking and casting rush to walk to the objective, to kill the objective, to score a point. Then I do the same kill the bone grinder trick to score the left circle zone, which he had vacated. And then if I had killed the objective, then I could have walked up my sentry for sure and been in a place to attack the model that was contesting the square zone.
Yeah.
I left, and here's what I forgot to do. I forgot to enrage.
Oh.
And so I left the objective on like less than 5 boxes. I don't remember how many, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So
that's always
you know
tough.
what I mean? Yeah. And so which means I can never actually. So I couldn't do that. So if my plan had gone in place, I would have went up 3-0 on scenario, and that would have applied some serious pressure on him. Instead, I was only up 2-0 scenario, and then he was able to do what he does and shoots the card dead. Yeah. But mostly because in order to go up 3-0, I kind of spread out a little bit and kind of made it. It took him work. Like he had to work at it, and of course he's super gracious, and we had a great game. So I want to face more Rhett. So I need more practice. Yeah. So I'm 1-2.
I think my game against Burks at the beginning of this, I think that was actually the first game that he and I had played against each other since last spring when we met at top table at PGS. We may have gotten 1 or 2 other games in there, but That's the last one that I remember, and that was another Rhett versus Kruger 2, and I ended up barely squeaking out the win to win that tournament. But anyways, round 3 was Invasion, playing against Ron. At this point, I'm like halfway through my burger when the next round starts, and I was really drained. I was like, I don't know if I feel like playing this game. Ron was playing Siege 1, Siege 2, and I think I've played against his Siege 2 list like 1 or 2 other times before, and I played against Siege 2 a handful of other times, and I don't like playing that matchup. I don't want to play Grail because I think Grail folds to both of his lists. At least it's a tough game. And I think the Kruger game is going to be better, but the drawback is it's such a tedious walking on eggshells game between Kruger and Siege 2 because they both threat really far and they're both very good assassins, and so it's this very cagey cat and mouse game. So I picked Kruger 2. Ron ends up picking Siege 2. I don't remember. I think he wins the die roll. He goes first. I choose Table Edge. I don't remember if I won and wanted to choose Table. I think I did. I think I won and chose Table Edge because there was an advantage. There was an advantageous position with the building that was in the middle of the table that I didn't want him to have control of, where it was a little bit closer to my side, and part of the zone was also part of the building was also in the circular zone as well as the rectangular one. And I wasn't really paying attention, and on Ron's first turn, he tramples Triumph forward and shoots a Sentry Stone off the table on top of one. And I had totally brain farted it. I didn't ask him about it, but at that point I was like, okay, I'm not really invested in this game anymore. And so it happens. He passes his turn. He moves some other things forward. He passes his turn. I look at the table. I spend probably a good 5 minutes just staring at my deployment for a minute. And then I'm looking at his Cyclone. I'm like, I think I can get to that Cyclone. And I think I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna take what I can out of this matchup rather than just conceding. Like, I'm just gonna play it. I'm gonna play it out. And so I look at the table, do a bunch of measurements and things like that. So I activate the Gallows Grove, get it within 10 inches of the Cyclone that's in the circular zone over on my right-hand side, his left. And I activate Eilish, I put Puppet Master onto Kruger, and then he teleports over towards the zone, or I think into the zone. Kruger activates and throws a Gallows at the Cyclone, hits it, and I roll a 3 on the D6 pull. I pull it 3 inches. I'm like, okay, game on. So then I cast TK onto Loki to bring him forward a little bit, and I think let's see, 3, 2. I think I just camp on the other 2 because that's 5. Yeah, I camp on the other 2. That's 5 Fury. I activate Megalith, or I activate some stuff, get it out of the way. Activate Megalith, I trample him forward, I get within 8 inches of the Cyclone. I TK him another 2 inches and turn him around. Loki activates, warps for strength, walks forward to 6 inches, hooks the Cyclone in the back, drags him, and beats him to death.
As he should.
From about, what was that, 13 inches away from where he originally started. Next turn, Ron takes his Sentry Shot with Triumph and does a bunch of damage onto my other Sentry Stone, and then he activates the turret that he put Fire for Effect onto, shoots and does some more damage, or finishes it off. I don't remember. Puts some splash damage onto Kruger. Ace walks forward, shoots something else, puts some more damage onto Kruger. I don't bother transferring it because I know that there's potentially some other shots coming. And then the Cyclone, I think, either finishes off. I think the Cyclone finishes, or not the Cyclone. Triumph finishes off backs up to basically the 16 inches and like 3 inches outside of the square zone. And shoots and finishes off the Sentry Stone. His Charger on my left-hand side walks into the zone and shoots Eilish dead. So now the zone is free. Or no, he shoots my Gallows Grove. And the next turn, he shoots Eilish, I think. No, he kills both of those this turn. He uses one shot to kill the Gallows Grove and the other shot to kill Eilish. So my next turn, I'm looking at the table again, and I'm just looking and looking, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can get Triumph all the way across the table and beat him to death. So
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, so I activate the Gallows Grove, and I move it to, and if I want to also, like, if I don't get killed on the next turn, I want to try and kind of set myself up a little bit better. So I activate the Gallows Grove, get it within I think 10 inches of the Forge Guard that had moved into that zone on my right hand side to try and start scoring it the next turn. And Eilish puts Puppet Master, I think, on Kruger again. No, he puts it. He puts it on Kruger. Kruger activates, throws Rebuke onto the Forge Guard, and then TK's Megalith and Loki forward. Megalith activates, tramples over towards the Forge Guard. TK's Triumph hits him, pulls him 2 inches forward, punches a couple Forge Guard. One of my Wold Weirds shoots a bunch of the Forge Guard. My other Wold Weird walks around the building and shoots the turret that's got an upkeep on it, kills it. Loki activates Warps for Strength, walks forward, hooks Triumph, pulls him in, hits him a couple times. The Feral activates Warps for Strength, charges, finishes him off. And then Ron kills Kruger in the next turn. And I'm just like, all right.
Oh,
A siege special.
I've
Ron kills Kruger.
Yeah, the Charger walks out around behind the building. At this point, I actually only have 3 hit points, and I'm only sitting on 1 transfer. And I know that Ace can also get a trick shot into him, and at dice off 5 and with other gunshots, like Kruger's exposed. I'm just like, all right, you shoot him dead with the Charger. Good game.
And by not transferring, you're not also giving up more army points.
It wasn't going to be enough to kill any, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was more of just kind of like, I know I'm losing this game. Like, I've already lost this game when I lost the Century Stone. Like, making that mistake and being behind on something that even if I know it's going to die the next turn, it's a turn that I don't get to put a forest down and screen my models. It's a turn that I don't get to contest a unit or contest a zone or something like that. Making that deployment error and having him just pull it off the table. I'm already 5 points down. I'm playing out of theme. So now I'm like realistically like 20 points behind between his free models and heavy metal and the 5 points that he pulled off the table because I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So
You know, Dan's like taking notes here. One, how to face a circle. Also, Dan plays Signar, so it's like,
Apparently, he doesn't like trolls either so much. So yeah, that works for.
There you go.
I just don't. I don't always like. I don't always like Kruger's game into trolls, especially Madrak 1.
Yeah.
So round 4 can be summarized in the placement of an Agonizer and the placement of a Gladiator. So I played Eli Elder, and he's a cool cat from up north, I think.
Okay.
And he chose to run Arcadius against me.
Okay.
And
I've seen his name, but I don't think I've actually met him.
Oh, he's super nice.
Yeah.
Like, it was great. And so so one of the things that was really great about it was just how clear he was in describing his actions. And he even told me kind of what his thought process was. Mm-hmm. So the result was he was able to assassinate Zakar. Okay, so that's how I lost. But how he got there using Arcadius's feat to primal first casting Ghostly, primaling a model, walking through a building, like how he got there was pretty significant. Now, the reason why he was able to do this was for 2 reasons. One is I had pushed up my bronze back into the middle zone. We're on the pit 2, by the way.
Yes.
And I was able to.
round 4.
So I charged and failed with my bronze back because I wanted to get him in a position to countercharge, and then I charged and failed to charge with my Gladiator, and the Gladiator occupied the space in between the bronze back and the building. He should have been closer to the building to give a better charge lane for the bronze back. So when that model eventually comes in, the Bronzeback could have countercharged it.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean? And so
So he was kind of boxed in.
So he was kind of boxed in.
Oh, shoot.
And so the entire plan sort of hinged on, can he kill the Agonizer?
Yeah.
And so the Agonizer was in a very special position right behind the building, sitting at a defense 14.
Mm-hmm.
And so one, he needed to take care of the Gladiator. Actually, he didn't even need to take care of the Gladiator. He just needed to frenzy to get to the Gladiator, and because he saw his Ghostly up, he could able to get to a position to then put Zakar in the dirt. But he needed to take care of the Agonizer first.
Yeah.
And he was able to. So my big thing was my Agonizer was in the right place, which was smart for me.
That's good.
But my Gladiator was in the wrong place, which was not smart for me, because I closed a lane for the Bronzeback, which wouldn't have given him that opportunity. And it was a rough game for me. I didn't score any CP and didn't get any army points.
Oof.
Yeah,
But
that's tough.
the takeaway is Eli is cool. So go Eli.
That's good.
The table next door to me is Ozzy, and this is the round that Ozzy won his game.
Nice.
And
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Who did he play against? Did he play against Travis?
It might have been Travis.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't actually remember.
Yeah, because I know that Ozzy played against Walker in round 3 because I walked by that game, and Walker happens to be my round 4 opponent.
Ooh.
So
segue.
at this point, I am also 1-2 after losing round 2 and 3. So I played against Jason Walker, who's another one of our local guys. So Jason and I actually have a long history. He came into this area a long time ago, a number of years ago, and he was playing Circle at the time, and I was still, this is, I believe, back in Mark 1, I was still really, really new to the game, and he was kind of my mentor for a really long time, teaching me about like how to play Circle, how to build lists, and things like that. And he's the one that hammered home like building balanced lists, having ranged and melee elements to them. And I've really, like, if you look at a lot of my lists, I do that a lot, especially in Circle. Like, you look at my Grail list, it's Blood Trackers and Ravagers. There's a ranged presence and a melee presence. If you look at my Morvana 2 list that I used to play in Mark 2, Blood Trackers and Skinwalkers, ranged and melee presence. And I've really taken a lot of those lessons to heart and used them. So Jason and I always have good games. He bounces around to a lot of different factions. He's playing Trolls for the tournament. He has a Cold Grima list and Cold Grima, Power of Dunia, I think it was, Beasts, and then he had a Madrak
2.
It was a Madrak 2. It was the Heroes. Band of Heroes. And he plays Madrak. I play Grail.
I know this.
Yeah. I end up picking Grail because it's got more chewing power to get through all the stuff. And I win the roll. I win the roll to go first and choose to go first. Jason kind of realizes in this list that he has a lot of accuracy problems, and I don't really have a lot of high defensing, like I don't have any defensing skew where like I'm like maxing my defense out on stuff, but like the def 14 and 13 is kind of right in that area where it starts to become a little more difficult, and he kind of realizes that he really needs another Fell Caller in the list because he just can't really hit anything. He's got a max and a min unit of Creo Warriors, I think 1 or 2 min units of Warders, and then 2 units of Fen Blades. And I set the line of engagement running forward and then charging into him the next turn and get myself in a really good position where I'm going to start going up on scenario. But then I end up opening up a hole and getting Lord of the Feast into his, because he shield guards with a couple of Blood Tracker shots as I'm trying to clear Creo Warriors that are standing in front of Madrak, and he shield guards with a bouncer too early, and I'm able to shoot something near Madrak and get into Madrak's back arc and get into range of the Creel Stone.
Ouch.
And I miss my initial attack against Madrak. Like I roll Snake Eyes standing in his back arc with Storm Rager. I'm just like, okay, that's how we're doing this. But I kill a bunch of other stuff. I kill 2 other things with my Thresher. I kill 3 things with the Thresher. And then I end up buying 3 attacks on Madrak, killing the other models around him through Grim Salvation, which we had to rewind about because we originally did it and he transferred the damage rolls, and I was like, oh wait, you're Grim 2, you have Grim Salvation, like you should be killing these other guys near you first before the transfers actually happen, because those happen as soon as he actually takes damage. He just plucks a model within 3 and kills it. And so we kind of rewound it. He got his transfers back, but I Grievous Wound and put some damage into him, and then I was able to finagle a hole. I had to do this because Loki, like his tradition a lot of times, misses his hook to drag Madrak out from behind kind of the corner of the building and into my army where I'm going to put everything into him. So then I have to go to him, and I managed to get Grail onto him and end up finishing him off and assassinating him. But
So now you're 2-2.
I'm 2-2.
And I'm 1-3.
Yep.
Ozzy's 1-3. Okay. And then round 5, just real quick. I play Philip Bauer. He's running.
Oh yeah, Phil.
Yeah, and he's super nice too. Like every person I played today was just amazing. Or not today, on Saturday. Every person I played was amazing. And he was running Vlad 2 in Armor Core. And instead of having the Chariot, he had the Cavalry Solo and an Eilish. And that was very significant because it gave his list some flexibility.
Okay.
And so he was able to challenge. We're playing Spread the Net. He's able to challenge my square zone or my rectangular zone.
Yeah.
And then he had this sneaky thing going on with his shock troopers.
Demolition
Corps. That's what I'm looking for.
Hammer dudes.
So they had 2-inch range or melee range or whatever, and they had like all these things up on them, like retaliatory strike and all these force march or whatever. I mean, all these things. So anyway, so getting towards the end of the game, and I realized that I have no assassination opportunity, and I have no real attrition's not in my favor at the moment because I lost my bronze back and to those same Demo Corps guys. But there were 2 guys that were standing in my square zone. I was able to get rid of the cavalry guy, and I had to get rid of those 2 guys. And the only piece I had to get there was the car himself. And so I charge over there. And well, here's the thing: I charge over there, and when I do damage, and I think I kill one of them, I guess. But he had something up that like stationaried Zakar, or like stopped Zakar from being able to like continue. And
Who was the caster he?
Vlad 2. So like I used to play Khador, and I've never ran Vlad 2. I don't know what his tools are, and so so something prohibited me from being able to attack the second guy. And at that point, it's round 5, and it's like 9:30 at night or 10 o'clock or whatever time it was, and I'm low on clock, and there's no way I was going to do anything. I was just trying to clear the zone so I can try to get some scenario presence, and so I actually lost. I actually lost on clock, and I was down 3-1 on CP. So. But it was awesome because then we got to talk afterwards, and I asked him specifically why he wasn't using the Man of War battle engine, and he kind of told me why, and everything that he said played out in our game. Okay. So he really knows his army. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's a solid player, which is confusing. Why did I see him in round 5? So
sometimes you have bad luck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose the match selection. It also kind of like that first round kind of happens a lot.
Yeah.
You lose the first round, and then, like I won my first round, and then I still ended up, 1-3 going, or 1-2 going into round 4, and then I managed to win my game against Walker, which could have, slight variations in his list, and it could have been a much bigger problem for me. Right. I did a much better job managing my clock, doing similar things that I did playing against Abi, and that helped a lot. But I easily could have lost that game too with slight modifications to his list, or if he had played Cold Grima, and then if I hadn't managed my clock very well.
Yeah.
But so round 5, I see a very old and familiar face across the table from me, and I'm matched up against Aaron Allen, my former co-host. Love you, Aaron. Tired of playing games against you and your Convergence. He is not, however, playing Axis, which is his Axis double tap list is the bane of my existence. I hate it so much. I don't know what to do against it. And I think I've lost just about every game that I played against it. He's playing, I think, Father Lucant and Orion. He ends up picking Orion. I end up picking Grail, because I think Grail is going to be better for this list, especially with the ambushing and playing on Spread the Net. And Spread the Net, you can get behind on CP really, really easily if you can't get across the table and either contest the zone or contest the flag. Grail does a good job at that. He has a good way to reach out and touch you. And I asked him honestly, I was like, do you actually want to play against either one of these lists? Because if you don't want to play, like, I'll just concede to you and we can harass your team captain who's playing against Sean Hopkins, who's the pair down. And he was like, no, I want the practice. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll play this game against you, Aaron, even though I don't want to. I'll try and give you a good game. And I gave him a much better. I felt like I gave him a much better game than I have normally in some of our other games. Like something was off, especially for it being round 5. It's the end of the day. Round 5 is starting like around 6:30 or something like that. And the short of it is, I end up getting assassinated way late in the game, but through good positioning and good trading and things like that, I felt like I was really ahead in scenario. I think we ended the game and I was at 5 or 6 CP and he was at 3 when he assassinated me at the end. And it kind of, the place where it went wrong is he managed to get a heavy into my rectangular zone and I had scooted over that direction. Grail charges it, like puts Storm Rager on himself, charges it, and it's only got 10 boxes left because I put some other attacks into it already or earlier in the turn. No, the previous turn. I'd put some attacks into it. And my Wild Argus put some attacks into it. There's only 10 boxes left. I charge, I combo strike, which puts me at power 18. No, puts me at power 16 with the combo strike, Weapon Master charge, and roll Snake Eyes on the charge attack at Mat 9, needing a 3 to hit him.
Gnarly.
So I miss, and then my following attacks proceed to being dice off 6 Weapon Master. I do like 2 points of damage, 3 points of damage, 1 point of damage, 2 points of damage.
Not enough to kill.
And I leave it on a box. And I don't have anything else to kill it. So I don't score that zone. Grail also doesn't sprint away over next to Loki, who's also standing in the zone, where I would be next to a shield guard and in a better position away from his Colossal. And he ends up charging in, killing the... I don't think he even kills the Wild Argus. I think he kills a couple of other models and charges in to Grail and finishes him off. I also made another mistake because I charged and killed a guy getting inside Orion's command range. And he has this spell called Avenging Force where if you kill something in his command range, one of his battle group models gets to move and make a basic attack. And he was able to... I charged and killed something to clear his flag so that I could try and score it the next turn. And that triggered the Avenging Force. And he took a gunshot with his Colossal and shot one of my Ravagers and killed it after I failed the tough check. But I had forgotten until after I pulled the model that I had defeated that turn and he actually had stealth. And the model was too far away. He wouldn't have been able to get the Avenging Force shot. But I was like, I can't, like, I don't know where exactly it was. I already pulled the model. It's dead. Like, we can't do anything to save it. I think if I hadn't missed that and if I had managed to kill the heavy in the zone, I think I could have ended up winning on scenario because I was still doing decent on clock and he was starting to run low and he was running out of solos actually to start scoring his flag. And Orion wasn't anywhere near either his zone or that flag to try and start scoring it, and I think I could have come back and ended up winning it. But I ended up losing on Assassination, but it was a good game. Aaron's a good guy. He's a very skilled player, and
good games.
I felt like I gave him a better game than I thought I was going to. I feel good about that. So.
Yeah, I actually think most of the games all day were real good.
Yeah.
So final result 2 and 3 for you, 1 and 4 for me, 1 and 4 for Oz. That was his first real big event, and I'm super proud of him for hanging in there.
Those 5-round events they're tough. So like, good on Oz for sticking through it.
Yeah, we have good news. Next year, it looks like the location of the event is going to be at the new Mox PDX store.
Oh yeah,
Mox is coming down and.
Mox
from
is
Seattle.
Mox is coming into Portland.
Yeah, and so and Dan, we're already making plans to be streaming with commentary next year. So
that's our goal.
That's our goal.
We got a year.
Golf commentary.
That's right. So it's gonna be great. We're gonna talk like this, and we're gonna. Oh, he just rolled Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Boy, he's gonna want that one back.
Someone was like, "Hey, it should be like he's pulling out his 3-inch widget. Looks like he's going for a repo. Oh, is he going to go?
He's repositioning forward."
So, hey Dan, what starts today?
Oh, the King of Coins, of course.
Oh yes, I'm so excited about it.
What's this I'm holding?
Chad got his coin.
Yeah,
I did.
So the season of King of Coins begins today. All you have to do is let us know you want to participate. It costs $5. I will personally hand deliver the coin to you. You get to pick your faction if it's still out there, if it's still available for you. And then we're gonna play for how many weeks?
Looks like 5 weeks.
5
We have
weeks.
scheduled.
And we're gonna have all games have to be 75 points on the clock, just so it's kind of standardized, kind of keeps it easy. And it could be any game. It could be a pickup game in your garage, or it could be on top of a steamroller game where 2 participants happen to be participating in the King of Coins event. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
All right.
You can even decide right before your game. You see he has a coin, sign on up.
You can even decide right then and there.
Yes.
I'm gonna join and I'm gonna challenge you for your coin. That's right. We want all comers. It doesn't matter. The point of this game is the point of this event. Is just to have fun, right?
Yep. Be some good sportsmanship. Get out there and play. That's what we're encouraging here.
That's what we're all about. Hey, we're gonna wrap this episode up, and we're gonna skip our hobby desk time, and we're gonna skip some of the other announcements that we have.
But my hobby desk actually has some machine stuff on it. That's
you know what? We'll have to have you back, and then we'll talk hobby. There's a lot of things on my desk right now too.
Yeah.
That 1 need my attention, and 2 need my attention. But we do have a couple events that we want to keep everyone aware of. The Seattle Open is later this month, and it is March 25th at Mox Boarding House in Seattle.
Is it in Seattle or is it in Bellevue?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know it's normally in Bellevue, but that a lot of times was because Jeff was running it.
Right.
It might be in Seattle. I don't know.
Well, but here's what I would do.
I thought that.
I would go on
go
to
check
Mox
it
Boarding.
out.
Go check it out.
Go find out.
I just want to plug it because there were a lot of Seattle guys, Washington guys that came down to our event, and it'd be nice if we did the same and send some of our guys up there.
Go up there and beat up their best players.
That's right. Yeah. And then we the Bend tournament that was in February got snowed out, and it's been rescheduled. Thank you, to April 6th. And it's a 3-man tournament. Mm-hmm. And I checked in with the Jer Bears. Looks like we're out. That date doesn't work for us either.
Oh, no.
So
that's too bad because I got in on that.
Oh.
I got in on that on an all-scorn team.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's one scorny team.
Oh, boy. Okay. So
that's part of our name.
Yeah.
Me so scorny.
Oh dear. So hey Dan, for those of us that have been listening all this time and they want to get on to hiddenforestgaming.com to make some purchases, what's their code?
So go for Spellstorm 10.
There you go, and you'll get a discount on your next purchase of gaming supplies from Hidden Forest Gaming. Yep. So thank you for everyone listening to us today, and Chad, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was nice to,
it's fun being here. I know I talk too much.
Well, it's either you talk too much or me talk too much.
Yeah.
And so here we got to alternate a little bit.
Now Dan gets to sit here and listen to us both.
Well, he was taking notes. Any last words, Dan?
No, again, spellstorminterest.com or on the COD Collective or all those events, and appreciate the listening.
There it is.
Yeah.
Find us on YouTube, find us on Facebook, find us on all the places that you people find people.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah, mostly spellstormminiatures.com.
Yeah.
That's where we are. So once again, thanks everyone. Have a good one.
I've got the circle coin. Come and get it.
Boom, 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 boom.